at you behind your back, Gerald. Everybody wants to vote for Nigel Farage. Nigel knows how to lead a party, he's so charismatic. Everybody makes fun of your weight, Jared. They call you Jared Batter, not Batten, 'cause you've got tubby tits. You're such a fuck-up, buddy. Gerald, what are you gonna do? I know your name isn't Gerald, but nobody respects you, so why bother? Can you hear it? Can you hear the end coming? Jared, you know what you have to do. There's only one way to save yourself and to save UKIP.
You bring aboard YouTubers, of course. Jared Batten, leader of UKIP, the United Kingdom Independence Party, the man who took the reins of leadership after Nigel Farage left to go found the Brexit Party, struck upon political gold when he came upon the ingenious idea of incorporating e-celebs within his political machine. What better way to reinvigorate the rank-and-file party members as well as bring in the youth vote they so desperately needed than appealing to e-celebs? People like Paul Joseph Watson, Count Dankula, and our boy himself, Carl Benjamin, otherwise known as Sargon of Smirt.
The madman has fucking done it, and to be honest with you, what other options do we have at this point? This is fucking important in my opinion, so I've decided I'm going to be joining UKIP too.
Now, Jared is no fool. He wanted to test their mettle first. He wanted to put them to the flames, a baptism by fire, if you will, by having them give a speech in front of an audience of literally tens of people.
As a society move forward, but as Marcus has said, their ideas have failed repeatedly, everywhere they've been tried, and so now they're just resorting to silencing tactics and violence. There's nothing more that we can do other than demand the state.
And after all those assembled in that room had finally heard the wisdom of Carl Benjamin, Gerard knew this man needs a political office that pays £60,000 a year. And this past month during his campaign has really highlighted just how smart Sargon is. And I, your simple humble servant, a based Kekarino, one of his Chatelet army, have decided to gather up all the nuggets of wisdom he shit out over the past 30 days and compile it into a handy-dandy guide for any future YouTuber that might want to run for political office. So let's take a look at the tips and tricks that Carl's put together for us as we learn how to be political and how to win an election.
There we go. I mean, I'm not... You're not laughing now.
Messaging. What planks in your party platform are going to appeal to your everyday Jane and John Q public? What resonates with the voters when they think of this particular election? Having a clear, concise message, understanding the policies you're bringing to the table is an extremely important part of running for any political office. You need to be able to draw the voters in so that they understand you are representative of what interests they have, not merely your own. Immersing yourself in these issues that people find to be important is one of the key cornerstones to running a successful campaign.
Okay, so give me your top 5 policy offers. What's your top 5 on the doorstep?
Well, actual policies. I mean, what can an MEP even propose?
It is absolutely imperative that you can reach each and every individual voter. And I do mean individual voters. Collectivists, stay back. We've got a big-brained, super smart liberalist in charge of this campaign. So Carl, being the self-educated audiobook aficionado that he is,
Britain, as conceived of by Locke, is the protection of the rights of the individual.
As conceived of by Locke, that state was not invented by Locke. That state has a history far greater than Locke. It's ridiculous. Locke wrote this, therefore it's true.
Okay.
This is exactly what I'm saying. You're living in an autistic, dissociated reality.
decided his key platform, his main point, his tentpole issue, the thing that he was going to wow the voter base with, the association he was going to ingrain in their memory when they thought of UKIP, was one simple word: rape.
Patton suggested earlier that if I would like to hold his candidate to account, I should
Well,
turn up at your
ask
press
him
conference
about
and
the
ask
elections.
Okay,
Well,
so
ask me
I
a
would
question
like to
then.
ask Carl Benjamin
Go ahead.
why you think it is acceptable to say on Twitter that you wouldn't even rape a female Labour MP.
Because I don't think women are any different to men in the way we should treat them. Unlike the establishment, unlike our judges who literally say if you were a man, I would send you to jail, I think we should treat women the same as men. And that means if a woman is being a giant bitch and laughing at male suicide, I'm going to be a giant dick back to her. Any questions?
Nothing pulls better with single women, mothers, and suburban families than the subject of rape. It's one of those dinner conversations I think we've all engaged in. Hey, Grandma, pass the butter. By the way, I wouldn't even rape you. Who could have possibly foreseen that a prior comment that Sargon made on social media would end up coming back to bite him in the ass? This particular comment was a tweet directed at Jess Phillips, another British politician. I wouldn't even rape you, at Jess Phillips. Hashtag anti-rape threats. Hashtag feminism is cancer. Well, you heard the man. He doesn't give a fuck. Sometimes you gotta put a bitch in her place. So that should be the end of it. After he bravely told those reporters that he wouldn't stand for their dirty, dirty smear merchant tactics, I'm sure they all walked away, heads hanging in shame, defeated by the intellect of Sargon of Akkad, #1 YouTuber. Do you know how many subs I have, bitch?
I'm not really interested in discussing any of these comments because, you see, I've had something like 400 million views on my YouTube channels in total. I've got a huge audience.
Or perhaps the opposite happened and a feeding frenzy ensued, with article after article coming out about the UKIP rape joke man and how he loves rape. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Holy shit, this is a catastrophe. Jared Batten must be standing on a ledge somewhere while this is occurring. No, actually, he's walking out of interviews.
Kind of comment, though, has prompted some
How
concerns.
many times are you going to ask me the
voters.
same question? How many times are you going to ask me the same question? Thank you very much.
I'll tell you, there's nothing in the world people in your own political party love more than having your rape comments brought up at every single interview they go to.
When you're casually joking about rape and sexual violence?
I don't believe that was at all the purpose of his joke.
Oh,
the purpose was wordplay.
He attached the name
It
Jess
is
Phillips
very
to it.
regrettable. It has nothing to do with the millions of grants.
Just answer that question. Do you
Let
feel
me
comfortable?
finish the point you asked me.
Your whatabouting.
So, also, I mean, I think
he's a candidate in the election.
He's a candidate in the election, and he has speculated about whether he would rape
in the
Jess
context.
Phillips.
Who wants to talk about politics and policies when we can discuss a big fat fucking YouTuber running his stupid goddamn mouth on Twitter? Oh, they love that. But I'm sure they loved it even more when a few of the other choice quotes started to surface in the media.
See, look, this is what I mean about the chat. I just can't be bothered to deal with people who treat me like this. It's really annoying. Like, you are acting like a bunch of niggers, just so you know. You act like white niggers.
Fun fact about Lawrence Webb.
Look, my wife is from the Caribbean, so I do find racist jokes particularly offensive.
How uncomfortable was that conversation, do you wager? But why stop at good old-fashioned rape and racism? Let's talk about a little pedophilia, too.
I was well under the age of 11 when I started having sex, and so what I like to do is put people on the other side of the argument. It's like, what you have to do is you have to say that someone like me, not anybody else, but me, that I was too stupid to appreciate the nature and quality of what I was doing at the time. So please convince me I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah, I think it's it depends on the child, really, doesn't it? Because some kids.
That's what the Catholics say.
That's going to be a hard one to spin. Well, you see, when I was talking about 11-year-old boys getting fucked, you're taking that out of context. It really depends on the child. But as if being known as the racist pedophile rapist wasn't enough for Sargon, let's throw in a little bit about the Holocaust too, because fuck it, why not? In interview after interview after interview, the subject was repeatedly brought up.
Can I ask? Hang on, look, right. I know what. No. I know.
It didn't die out after a week. It didn't die out after 2 weeks. It went on for 30 days straight. And the public sentiment about this was not very favorable.
Claire says, this Carl Benjamin interview on your programme today has made me cry. He sounds just like my rapist.
You sound like my rapist. I don't think that's... Wow! That's going to be a hard one to sell to the middle class. I don't know if convincing soccer moms that you're a sex offender and that you say the things that a sex offender would say is going to really endear you to them. I will say it's going to make branding a little bit difficult. These sorts of posters probably aren't going to do very well. I don't imagine many voters are going to want to hang them up outside their businesses or on telephone poles. But this monumental amount of bad publicity doesn't faze Carl. He's got a plan going forward. He studied politics from around the world, and he knows what to base his campaign off. Donald Trump. You could say that President Trump is somewhat of an idol of Sargons.
You ready?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, we are.
Yeah. I reckon we can get Donald Trump to defend Gamergate.
No.
Why not?
And his approach of no apologies is something that really resonates with our little Swindonian. So when faced with this overwhelming amount of negativity about talking about rape and racism and little boys, never apologize is the phrase, the mantra, they're repeated over and over in Sargon's head. After all, Donald Trump would never... Oh, wait a minute. No, he would fucking... Wait a minute. Oh, shit, did he? Oh, he did. Oh, that's embarrassing, Carl.
Anyone who knows me knows these words don't reflect who I am. I said it, I was wrong, and I apologize.
That's going to be a big yikes for me. We need to get the fuck out of here. Hit the abort button. Let's move on to number 2. Number 1 didn't happen. We're not dum-dums. Carl's list of super smart ideas, his tips and tricks to election winning. All right, that was a mistake. Should have been top 4 instead of top 5. Forget number 1. All right, if there's any takeaway from number 1, probably don't tell people you want to rape little boys. That's just a bullet point. Take it or leave it, it's up to you.
There we go. I mean, I'm not... You're not laughing now.
Likability. Relatability. How often do people want to come up and converse with you? Would they sit down and have a beer with you? Are you someone they can relate to? This is a key component, one of many, for doing well in an election. Nobody wants to vote for an asshole. Nobody wants to elect a prick into office. There has to be some overriding charm, something that draws people in, something that's warm and comforting, something that they feel they recognize in the individuals that are around them in their daily lives, that they recognize in you, the politician. Well, Carl's got that in spades. Smuckles here, he's known for being very relatable. I mean, sure, the press may hate him, and the British public may think he sounds like a rapist, but at the very least his party has his back. That's important. You need your boys in your corner. You need somebody in your house, in your stable, willing to defend you, to go out there and fight the good fight. And as long as he's got those fellow UKIP members, he's golden. I mean, let's forget about the local elections. Sure, UKIP lost 80% of the seats they defended, which is catastrophic, but that's not Carl's fault. You can't pin that on him. He's a likable guy. He's affable. This is Carl Benjamin. Who doesn't love this guy? Except for these people. All right, these 3 women don't count. They're women, and women aren't people. Carl Benjamin told me that when he said he wouldn't rape them. So they don't, fuck that. They don't count. All right, I don't care if they all left the party. If all the women have left UKIP, doesn't matter. Carl Benjamin still has people in his corner. He's a hometown hero in Swindon, except for the fact that the Swindon branch of UKIP quit. Doesn't count either. These women and the leader of UKIP in Swindon don't count. Gloucestershire too? Really? How many fucking people quit? Okay, let's revise this a little bit. Just because the majority of women in the party left, the person heading the local branch of your political party left, an entire fucking constituency left, doesn't matter. It's not like they hacked the website to tell everybody in UKIP that you are the worst possible choice. They did. People within the party left a parting message informing people that Carl Benjamin is the death of UKIP, and that maybe you should run for the fucking hills while you still can. Hurtful. That's very hurtful. How could you do that? But at least it's over. Nobody else is... Oh God, more people are quitting? How many fucking people quit? We lost 80% in the local elections and like 20 people have quit? Is anybody in Swindon anymore? Who's running UKIP down there? How could this get fucking worse? Oh, what is the Catholic Church going to step in? Well, no, they couldn't. I mean, that whole depends on the child thing is... I mean, we're on the same side here, right? Right? They can't possibly, can they kick me out of the cathedral? I've been banned from church.
He's banned from Exeter Cathedral yesterday.
I've been thrown out of a fucking cathedral. Oh, could this campaign get any worse? Everybody in the press thinks I'm a racist, a rapist, a pedophile. I've been banned from the church. Half my party is quit. 80% have lost their elections. What could possibly go wrong from here?
Today we were meant to have a fantastic panel of high-profile speakers from all parties that are standing in the seat. However, due to certain events, we have had certain candidates try and boycott the event, and then after the initial event was cancelled at our university, other speakers slowly started to pull out, leaving just one candidate who decided to continue on with the event, and that is the candidate for the UK Independence Party, second on their list, Carl Benjamin.
Nobody's showing up. My name has become such poison in the political scene in Britain that merely mentioning I will show up at an event to debate drives away every other candidate from every other party that had agreed to participate. So it's just me in my big boy suit with nobody to talk to for 2 whole hours. You know, I think likability went right down the toilet. We should keep this train moving. On to number 3.
There we go. I mean, I'm not. You're not laughing now.
All right, I don't like to brag, but you know, I'm kind of a big deal. All right, I'm important. I am Carl Benjamin. Have you checked out my YouTube metrics?
I'm not really interested in discussing any of these comments because you see, I've had something like 400 million views on my YouTube channels in total. I've got a huge audience.
All right, lots of views, lots of subs. Big deal over here. All the kids, the Kekarinos, they Chatelet my shit every day. All right, hashtag Gamergate. You don't get it, old man. But I'm on the cutting edge of meme culture with my boy Count Dankula. Now, perhaps not as on par as messaging or likability. Having an air of importance about you, having something about you that is desirable from people on the outside can benefit you in some ways. If you're a self-made man, if you run a large business, if you've had a illustrious career, if you've reached the peak of whatever industry you're a part of, that can be appealing to voters. So, you know, being important can matter in some context. Just not in every context. I'll give you a quick example of this. The good kind of importance. Self-made billionaire running for president. Very successful. The bad kind of importance. Attention community. It's important that you report this man to the local authorities because there are 2 police investigations currently ongoing. Yes, sometimes this can backfire. If you're a vapid attention whore and running around like a chicken with your fucking head cut off, sometimes you're going to draw the attention you don't want on you. And sometimes the importance that's bestowed upon you is more like an Amber Alert rather than accolades. In the case of Sargon, gee, Billy, why does your mom let you have 2 police investigations? I guess that's the double-edged sword that comes with popularity and importance. Sometimes you get attention you don't necessarily want.
He posted this on his Minds account. YouTube let us know today that they have demonetized my YouTube channel.
Oh, I don't know how he's going to survive, going from $40,000 down to a mere $20,000 a month. You know what? Hit that subscribe star link. Go give Sargon some of your money. That poor son of a bitch is living in poverty right now. He's only going to be able to eat lobster 5 times a day, especially when they come for every other YouTube channel that he has, which YouTube is doing. But it doesn't just stop with Google. Twitter joined in as well, removing his political account, as well as Facebook putting him on a hate list. I don't know if this is the sort of importance that Carl Benjamin wanted when he went out on the election trail. It's one thing to LARP as a martyr, it's another to actually become one. How could this possibly get worse? Oh, I know. How about Jess Phillips suing his ass? You remember Jess Phillips? That was the woman that he wouldn't rape? Well, Carl, you may not have wanted to fuck her, but I get the feeling she definitely wants to fuck you. You know, I'm starting to suspect none of these tips are really working out very well. In fact, they all seem to be doing the opposite of good. But maybe these first 3 were just the bad ones of the bunch. Surely 4 and 5 will be much more beneficial to Carl's political ambitions.
There we go. I mean, I'm not. You're not laughing now.
You don't understand. I'm the victim here. You're a bunch of bully jerks, mainstream media, you dirty, dirty smear merchants. Coming after me, I'm innocent. I didn't do nothing. Repeatedly lambasting me for the "I wouldn't even rape you" comment. Do you understand what it's like as a sexual assault survivor for you to question my joke telling?
Could I ask you a really personal question?
Sure.
Have you been raped?
I've been sexually assaulted.
Oh yeah, maybe you didn't know that. Apparently Carl's been raped. I'm going to press X to doubt on this one. I'm not saying he doesn't have an award-winning smile. I'm just saying I find it highly improbable that somebody would sexually assault Carl. Poor Carl, he's been sexually assaulted. That's why he tells rape jokes, don't you get it? And that's a tough trauma to live with. Luckily, his wife can relate.
Let's hope nobody you love has ever been raped, because it's shocking. Shocking. Well then, why are you joking about rape?
What are the odds on that? What's going on in Swindon? Are there serial rapists running about? How many people are getting gang raped down there? Both Carl and his wife have been raped in Swindon? I don't know if there are crime statistics for this particular area, but I'd move away if I were you. Now, I know the cynics out there are going to say, this is bullshit. This reminds me of the whole black grandfather thing.
My dad isn't white.
Mm-hmm.
So my granddad wasn't white, and he was a black man in the 60s who married my white grandmother. My grandfather wasn't a quarter black, he was fully black. I don't know what race he actually was, because it was never something I really cared about. I mean, he was a very dark-skinned man, but I don't think he was sub-Saharan. I never really thought about it, because I don't care. I don't know, West Indian or something maybe?
Yeah.
I just don't know.
Well, you don't understand. My grandfather was a black man. Okay, he was 50% black. My 25% black grandfather wouldn't like your racism. He's 10% black. That 5% means something to him. We appreciate his 2.5% black heritage. Okay, real talk. He had one hell of a tan, okay? Leave me alone, bigot. And I suppose if you're going to bring up the black grandfather, you're going to point to his prior behaviors, like lying when it's convenient, and smearing people because it's just too much of a bother to tell the truth.
But just out of convenience, you're going to tell everybody I'm all right.
Well, I'm afraid so. Yeah, it's a pragmatic maneuver. You got to understand, I've got to make fucking tactical judgments.
Well, you want to tell me that it's too much work for you to do that? Are you sure? It's too much work
it really
for you
is,
to go through the labor of doing that.
Well, yeah, because, I mean, they don't really know what you guys are anyway. But the SJWs don't care. They're too stupid. Not even, it's not...
Why are you telling them I'm all right?
Because there's no point trying to explain to them what you are. They won't understand.
Acting in a politically expedient manner. That's what I want from a politician. Somebody who's willing to omit and lie when it's beneficial to them. Which is a bit ironic because Carl was on television chastising reporters saying a lie by omission is just as bad.
Why did you decide to choose rape?
It's very important because you've been lying about me and I've been attacked in the street because of your lies. So this is genuinely important.
I've never lied about you, and you're here today.
A lie by omission is still a lie.
Oh, Carl, don't be upset with the mainstream media. They're not dirty, dirty smear merchants. They're just making tactical judgments. It's purely a pragmatic maneuver. Boy, if a word has ever fit a situation more perfectly, I don't know what it is. I just don't get it. All these tips and tricks to getting elected from our big-brained fellow Carl here. They should be doing the trick, but every single one of them keeps backfiring. Nothing has worked to plan. What could be the common factor? What exactly is holding him back? Something clearly is getting in the way. Could it be that he's maybe dehydrated?
There we go. I mean, I'm not... You're not laughing now.
Far too often we focus on the political pizzazz, a healthy mind to combat our opponents, when really we should be focusing on a healthy body. And there's no way to stay healthier than to stay hydrated. And that's a mindset that Carl lives every day, or at least pretty much every day for the last 30 days, as he's been going out of his way to get as much liquid into him as humanly possible. Stop after stop after stop on his tour. He keeps asking people for delicious milkshakes, and sometimes you can't get that delicious Burger King shake. So you go for the next best thing, fish.
I don't need permission to be here, do I? Excuse me.
Because if water's good for you, the shit that lives in water should be good for you too. That's a smirk thinking we all knew Carl was capable of. Yeah, I got no more for this section. I just wanted to talk about him getting hit with milkshakes because it's funny to me. And having people throw fish in his face. Oh, and they also tried to hit him with horse shit. I don't know. If there's video of that, please send it to me. I want to see Carl get hit in the face with horse shit. I have looked everywhere for it. I can't find it. But if it's out there, hit me up. Do me a solid and hit me up with that. What a little adventure our Carl has gone on. All in an effort to show the internet that he can do real big boy things out in the big boy world. Sadly, everything is blown up in his stupid fat fucking face. Never would have saw that coming. His inability to apologize or understand the basic concepts of how to be a politician are a complete hindrance to his ability to ever be elected to anything. This single campaign might be the most clear-cut example of what not to do when you run for office. Politics at its core is about 30-second sound bites, and when your introduction to the world is nothing but you calling people a bitch and talking about rape, you're off to a bad start. When you start bringing in "it depends on the child," you may as well just call it quits there. Because the truth of the matter is, close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, Carl. Second place in politics is last place. You either win or you don't. You went out there to show us, to show the internet, to show the world that you had what it takes to be a politician. And you fell flat on your fucking face. And funnier than that, you've probably destroyed yourself. And you have literally no one else to blame but you. You are responsible for your own destruction. If you lose your YouTube channel, which you probably are going to, if you lose your Facebook, if you lose all the things that make you who you are on the internet, you did that because you wanted to get in front of a camera and show people how fancy you looked in a suit. You stupid son of a bitch. I tried to warn you. I tried very hard to warn you exactly what was going to happen. And what do you know? Every fucking thing I said came true. You joined an established political party, and during your tenure with them, they lost 80% of the seats they controlled in local elections. 20 people left the party. Multiple MEPs fled to the Brexit party. Voters were turned off of you. You created nothing but a negative press cycle, so much so that the people running on your own ticket alongside you are going to suffer for it. People like Lawrence Webb and others, who might not actually get a seat because of you. I know you like to ignore the polling, Carl. Every time you were asked about it on the road, you hadn't seen any polls. And if you did happen to see any, you'd mumble Donald Trump under your breath before stomping off. Well, today is the day of reality. And here's my speculation on how it's going to end. UKIP is about to get fucked in its ass. Look at the damage you've done. You've ruined other people's political ambitions. You've destroyed a political party to feed your own ego, narcissism, and hubris. And perhaps worst of all for you, you destroyed yourself in doing so. So when the shit hits the fan, when the sky comes falling down upon you, when the earth splits open and hell is unleashed, go look in a mirror, because the guy that's going to be looking back at you from it, that's the motherfucker that's responsible.